recorded. So, a few nakudas first that we want to talk about. Number one is that we're starting a new Torah and a new ischachus, and I didn't even look at the Torah yet. I sent it to you. You got it? Yeah. So it's a new Torah, new ischachus, and we plan on learning this Torah. What? I know. I'm telling you, I feel the same way. I'm not ready.
Writing the word siyum.
Mamish, not ready. B'chal, we're not ready. We're completely not ready.
At least like 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's all echad, by the way. We'll talk about echad in a second. We'll be able to understand. Rabbi Shia said it before. Rabbi Shia said a word before. We'll say it in a second. And that, but let's say it when we go into the Torah. But the point, there's a few pointers that I want to be madgish. Number one is that Rebbe, I need your attention because they're important pointers. Number one, we're starting a new Torah, and we plan on learning this Torah until Purim for sure, probably till Pesach. Wow. In other words, we made in the Torah Zmanis got together and they were fighting a whole thing because they don't go with the Torah too long, more than 3 months. The Rebbe said 3 months. You're not allowed to go 3 months. But every time we come to the thing, to the end, we realize that we're just at the beginning and that we didn't even scratch the surface. So it's very hard to leave the Torah. Like the Rebbe says in this Torah about the Diburim, how the Diburim talk to you and they say, Ati Yedea Goydel Yekar Zivi Tifarti Hadori Eich Tuchel Espared Mimani. How could you feel it mamish that the Torah is begging you, don't leave me. Everybody said we're going to start again Cheshvan, we're going to start again Samachay, and every koil that I went to this week is telling me let's not stop Samachay. Let's go one more month Samachay. But we have no choice. The Dibur says to us, the Rebbe is telling us we have to go weiter. So how do we go weiter? So we're going to talk about this concept of echad, and then maybe we'll bring it. If I remember, we'll bring it home to how do we go weiter? And really, we could ask the question we could ask already. And I know you know this in Eretz because Mati asked this question. He was ma'ir me this question. That the Rebbe says in the Torah that the Dibur itself is telling you to go weiter. It's telling you two things. It's telling you don't leave me, and yet at the same time the Dibur is telling you, but I know hey nemes that you have to go weiter, but at least don't forget me. Why would the Dibur, who was one with the nefesh that's telling you not to leave you, tell you, hey nemes, you have to go weiter? Don't tell me. I know myself that I have to go weiter. Why does the Dibur have to tell me that I go weiter? So I'm not going into the teretz of this. Maybe we'll get to it when we talk about the Torah, but I'm going to say one thing, that the Dibur, the Rebbe himself is telling us that we have to go weiter. Even though we're touching Torah Zamachay, the Torah is telling us, okay, we have to go weiter. What are you going to do? Al tishkach chayzi, don't forget me. And hopefully when we finish talking about the recap of the Torah, we'll come back to this Nakuda. But there's a few things that are very important things to talk about. Is that when we start learning the Torah in Yad Shem, I didn't look at the Torah yet. Mamish, I can't, because I can't leave the. But we have to go weiter. So, but Sunday, Yad Shem, we'll start it on Sunday. But the word is that I'm giving advice only for my own journey. It doesn't mean that this is nothing. My disclaimer goes on again and again that we don't say pshat and Likutei Moharan, because who could we to say pshat in the Rebbe's Torah? We're saying pshat in the way the Rebbe is talking to me. The Rebbe is talking to me in a certain way, and the way the Rebbe is talking to me, azoi shines me, and I'm trying to share what it's shining me, sai, from a place of connection in the Torah, and most of all, in the connection of how do I internalize the Torah and use this as an eitzah to avodas Hashem. Besides the eitzes that we see clearly and that we have in Messiah, Midar, that we get, that these are the eitzes of the Torah, but everybody could find their own eitzah, because if you go with the place of bittul, that we're going into the place of, we're mevatel ourselves to the Baal HaSada, we're mevatel ourselves to the Echad, we're going into that place of, we are mekablim, and not chas v'shalom, we're saying pshat, and we can. We're makablim from the Rebbe, and we believe that the Rebbe is talking to each of us individually, and the same words that the Rebbe says to me can say one way to me, and another way to you, and another way to somebody else. So we're sharing our journey through the Torah we're trying to internalize in our lifestyle and live the culture of the Rebbe and live the culture of the Torah and take the antibiotics and the prescriptions that the Rebbe is giving us in the Torah as medicine in our nigya nefesh and our yisurim that we're going through in this world, in each person in his journey, in each person in his matzav. So we're taking these prescriptions and we're trying to find our way throughout this journey in order to come to the tachlis. And the Baal HaSada, he's the one who brings us to the tachlis. Ultimately, we can't do anything without the Baal HaSada. But we have to do, I heard a nice thing today that's not relevant to the Torah, even though we try not to go from the Torah. I was by my son's yeshiva today, and they had like a Avos Abonim. They were saying that a Medrash said that he was talking about Evan, that Evan is the Avu Ben. Evan, the Rashi is Mesham Roya Evan Yisrael. Evan is Avu Ben. So he said that Evan is, and it's interesting that he mentioned it. I said it again, connected to the Torah. Everything connects to the Torah. That all the Avonim are the Oisis HaTfilah. He brought a medrash that says the Avonim are the Oisis HaTfilah. So he said that the son and the father and son was a father and son learning. He was trying to say about the father and son. So he said that there was a stone that they brought from I don't remember which, was not in Yerushalayim, a big stone that they wanted to bring to the Beis HaMikdash that was going to fit into the Beis HaMikdash. When B'shas they were building the Beis HaMikdash, and they couldn't, it was such a heavy stone, they couldn't find a way to bring it from wherever it was to wherever, to bring it to Yerushalayim. So they brought all different people, nobody was able to do it. The Eibishter sent Malachim b'dmus anoshim to come to bring the stone. But the Malachim, when they came to him, I forgot who it was. It was one of the Nevi'im. I don't remember exactly. He was saying so he came and they said, okay, we're going to help you bring the stone to Yerushalayim. We know how to do this. The only thing is we need you to put your finger, your etzba, he said, also connected to the Torah, etzba, in order to help us, give us a finger, help us, and we're going to, and the Taka went and they brought it to Yerushalayim. So he was saying that the Rabbeim in the yeshiva, they are the Malach Hashem Tzvokos. Imarav Doim the Malach Hashem Tzvokos, they're the Malachim, but Musa Noshim, and they're coming to help your son. Oh, but the Tata Daf Tzilagen, everybody has to put a finger. Same thing is the Baal HaSada, he does be'etzem the tikkun, and like we learned in traditional Breslov that this Torah is talking about the Baal HaSada, and he's talking about but we all know that the Torah, the Rebbe didn't say Torahs about the Baal HaSada. He said Torahs for every single individual, and as an individual, where are we as an individual? What's our avodah in this Torah as an individual? And then we do our thing, our etzba. That's the Zeh Hashem. That is the etzba that we're bringing, so that we empower the Baal HaSada to do the real tikkun. So and there is a sikh in the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, "Bring me vaflim et sigel neichel boim from them binyanim nefloim." The word is that we have to do ours, and we're going to see in the Torah what is the hours we spoke about. What is the hours that we have to do? So, if we're learning Likutei Moharan and we're taking on this new Torah to learn, we have to, Shmiras Hasdarim is a very big thing. And I'm noticing, I'm here a few times already, and I'm noticing that there's a shtickle chulsha in it. And we're not talking about anybody individual, we're talking about everybody's a group and everybody's an individual. It's Shmiras Hasdarim not because of money, but because of money. What's the whole tachlis here? The tachlis is to build this idea of everybody learning the same Torah, and wherever you go in Breslov, everybody's learning the same Torah, and everybody's sharing, and this is going to bring an achdus to Breslov, regardless of the uniform. The Rebbe didn't discriminate on which uniform you are, and which place, and which hat you wear. The Rebbe speaks to every individual, and we see it clearly in Uman. Everybody that comes to the Rebbe seeing is invited, because the ones who don't come, clearly were not invited. So if we are lucky enough to be in the Baal HaSada and connected to Baal HaSada, what's going to be ma'achados? We have such differences in how we see the Baal HaSada. The only thing that's going to be ma'achados is the Torah of the Rebbe. And if we're able to get everybody This is starting, and they're saying now we're going to have over 2,000 people learning this Torah Lamed Gimel, the next thing. You know what that is? In Breslov, there was no such a thing ever in the history. I don't know if there was 2,000 people, but 2,000 people all learning the same Torah at the same time. We're part of a movement. We're part of something much, much bigger, and it's going to fit into the Echad. So the first thing is that we have to understand we are on a mission. And if you're a Breslov Chassid, and this is what you're doing, it's not you're coming because the Kollel pays $400 a month. You're coming to Kollel because I'm part of the movement and I happen to need money. So if I'm part of the movement, I have an achrayus. I have a responsibility. You think I like doing this? Running around from Kollel to Kollel. This was not my plan. I promise you. Rabbi Yankel can tell you. This is not it wasn't in the cards for me to be doing that. How this happened, I don't know. But I know one thing. Somehow the Rebbe is pushing me into this thing. And I feel that this is a way to do it. So it's very important that each individual feels this as a responsibility. And the responsibility is not to the Kollel. The responsibility is to the movement. The responsibility is to the Rebbe, to the Baal Soda. The responsibility is to the Eibishter, to bring Mashiach. If we believe that the Torah of the Tzaddik, that's Mashiach's Torah, the Rebbe said that there's no difference between me and Mashiach. Just Mashiach, they're going to believe in me, they're not going to believe. So if we know these responsibilities, then we all have a responsibility. So what's the minimum responsibility we could do? If we're designating the time to learn this Torah, then we have to designate the time and be here, and with a chiyus, and pump each other. And there's breakdowns. We're going to go through hardships, just like we go through life with hardships in the Torah also. How many times when we started this Torah, I don't know if anybody remembers, we started Torah Samachay, the first few weeks, it was a struggle. We didn't first to understand the concepts, and then the connections, Ba'alef, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, seemed like the 4 different concepts completely, and how are they connected? So we're going to be struggling. So the advice that I'm giving is A, come on time and utilize the time. B is when you learn the Torah, first go through the Torah. Go through the Torah, even in the English Likutei Moharan, at the end of every sif, there's a summary. In English, there's a summary of the sif, and then when he goes to the next sif, there's a summary of both sifim. Very easy thing is first get the language without even challenging questions or anything. Just understand what is Sif Aleph, what's Sif Beis, what's Sif Gimel, what's Sif Dalet. Hey, this is Zayin Sifim, and get the map. And to get that map of the Torah, you need to at least go through the Torah 2-3 times fast, and you still don't get the map. But at least you'll start hearing there's an idea here, an idea here, an idea here. Before I start trying to be misamek and to understand the kesha advarim, just the map, the words. What is it? Sif Aleph, Soda, Bala Soda. Sif Beis, Diburi Atfila, 2 motions of Diburi Atfila. Sif Gimel, Yisurim, Echad, Re'iyah, Tachlis, Bittul. Sif Dalet, Bittul, Simoin, Schachas HaTorah, Vayoyim HaBoyaz Orus. Get the map. The map of the Torah. That's the first important thing. And that only comes from Bekis, not from Ian. That needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times through the Torah. I try to make 2 Sdarim. To make one where every day I try to go through as much as I can through the Torah. And then a Seder of going slowly through the Torah without just understanding it. And then you start asking questions. And then you start, I'm telling you, and this is why I brought mine to show you, I never wrote in my life before. I'm not a writer. But this Torah, at some point I started writing, and I couldn't stop. On almost every single word, I started writing on the Torah questions. Nothing, just questions. The Rebbe changed the Lashon. What does the Rebbe mean? What's the connection? Is it possible that this is connected to this? And I just started writing. And then I started looking back at what I started writing. The next time I went to the Torah, started looking back at what I started writing. I said, that the Rebbe mentioned over here. Maybe it's a kesher. Then in the back, I started writing again of the kesher. Is this makusha to this? Is this makusha to this? Perhaps this is makusha to this. This is a way of understanding how to learn what the advice. It doesn't mean that this is the way. Telling you from my own journey, I'm sharing with you, and I think that's something that could really be very, very helpful, because we're going to get stuck. We're going to get stuck. Not a question. We're going to fall into the tzezetzkeit. There's not a question. And we're going to prepare for it because we know we're going to plow through. And when we do, there's going to be tremendous rewards at the end where you feel that you just elevated. You picked up yourself. The Rebbe picks you up. Imamish picks you up and you're a different person. Torah Samachay changed my life. I said it by Torah Chalfei, but this really changed my life. But next one will say the same thing. If you internalize it and you live it as a culture and not something to say at the Dvar Torah by the table, so that you have something to say to perform to someone else, but something to live internally, to take into yourself and mamish exercise and see, where do I get challenged with this on a daily basis? And I'm seeing this Torah completely every minute of the day. Wherever I'm going, I'm being challenged with the same thing. Yisurim, hello. Who doesn't have Yisurim? The Rebbe is saying the Yisurim is physical, spiritual, and emotional. And could be the Rebbe is telling us that all the physical Yisurim are coming from the emotional, spiritual Yisurim, which is the Nigei HaNefesh the Rebbe talks about, right? So we're talking about Yisurim. Who doesn't feel? We're just not aware of it. We're running away. The Rebbe says when you close your eyes, you're running away. But when you're going into Chazud HaYalma, then you're going in Vaita. And if you put your consciousness and you connect to your bittul, then you're going into Stimas Einayim Chazud HaYalma. And when you go into Stimas Einayim Chazud HaYalma, that's when you're going into bittul. So anyway, I'm just giving you a format and let's see, let's take something. What can we take out of Torah Samachay that's going to be a kesher within Torah Samachay and something that we could take le'uvdan l'maisa. So let's start like this. Everybody, I'm sure, asked the question that how do I make echad for my Diburei Tefillah? The Rebbe says that there's two motions in the Diburei Tefillah. One motion is that I'm melakit, the ichtzitzim, sheishanim u'prachim, I'm collecting them. And the other motion is that when the dibur goes out, the dibur is talking to me and begging me, don't leave me. You love me so much. We have such a great connection. The most romantic part in all of Likutei Moharan, probably, that the Rebbe expresses it. And the dibur is talking to me and begging me not to leave, but I know you have to go away, so at least don't leave me. And the Rebbe says, okay, so you know what the eitzah is? The eitzah is to make echad from the whole tefillah. Does anybody know how to make in Baruch? Let's not forget Atov. The Rebbe brings the lashon of Baruch. How do you make it Baruch that you remember every single oisat tefillah? So Lamaisa, what do I do? Where's my Lamaisa in this echad that we're making? We spoke about this the other day. I'm going through it and we're going to enhance it a little bit, hopefully. So that's one major question in the Torah. Another question in the Torah is, the Rebbe talks about making echad from the dibur, and the Rebbe talks about making echad from the Yisurim. That the Yisurim came because I should do tshuva. So the Yisurim are here to bring me to echad, to the tachlis, to look at the tachlis. So I need to make echad from the Yisurim, and I need to make echad from the dibur. It seems like the Rebbe is saying there's two echads, there's two avodas. What kesher is there between the Yisurim and the dibur? Anybody? What kesher is there? The Rebbe is talking about an avodah of making echad from the Diburei Tefillah. The Rebbe is talking about an avodah of taking the Yisurim and converting them into tzimoin, to eschachus HaTorah, and he's telling us to make echad in the Yisurim. That means that there seems to be two echads, or maybe one echad. Can be. By the way, there can't be two echads. There's only one echad. So maybe there's two separate avodas in echad. What's the kesher between Yisurim and Diburim?
The nefesh is the dibur.
Okay.
And the Yisurim is the Nigei HaNefesh.
Okay, so what's the kesher between? You told me nefesh is a connection to both. But what's the connection from dibur to Yisurim? What's the connection between the dibur and the Yisurim? Where's the connection? The Rebbe is talking about my echad, so what's my connection?
The dibur is also nefesh. The dibur came from
Gevaldig, you're saying they're both nefesh, but what? Yeah, I believe they're connected. But what is there? But it seems like two separate things. You're going through Yisurim, and you got to go look at the tachlis, and because that's going to bring you to the moment to the eschachus HaTorah, and there's diburim that you have to make echad. So is there a connection between these two questions? Is there maybe possibly a connection between the two questions? Sorry, what did you say? Right, so the same avoida, but it's in two different parts.
It's the same. Again, it's the same avoida.
What makes it the same? What makes it? I'm asking a question. What makes the two things the same? What makes my diburei atfila and my yisurim one? What? My nefesh, that it's coming from my nefesh? What makes it one? What? No. And okay, very good. What's yisurim? Yisurim is painful. Okay. And memela what?
When you're talking diburei, so nefesh and being positive, that means that you're going to be sober.
Why?
It's the first step.
I mean, you're saying something. I'm trying to put. You're saying you're touching something. What makes think. This is what I'm saying. Think. What is it in the Yisurim? What is the kesher in the Yisurim in pain and suffering to the dibur that is? Show me in the motions. How about this? Let me help you. There's a motion in dibur. The Rebbe said two motions. There's a dibur. It's coming. There's a malakit. I'm gathering, and there's yotzei dibur. And then there's another thing. Hashmei la'oznecha ma'shatamoytze mipicha. So that means the Rebbe is telling me there's a process here. What is the process that's happening with dibur that's connected to Yisurim? It has to be connected. It can't be two separate things. It has to be connected. So it was bothering me, mamish, this part of the connection of Yisurim, and that means Sif Beis and Sif Gimel. One second. I just want to bring out a point, then I'll let you speak in a second. Between Sif Beis and Sif Gimel, this was bothering me the entire time. It seems like it's two individual concepts that the Rebbe seems to make it that it's one echad. So I was learning the Likutei Halachos today on the Torah. And I'm telling you, I want to tell you, I started learning Likutei Halachos on the Torah 2 weeks ago. After 3 months of just learning the Torah and challenging the Rebbe and getting stuck, right? And then saying, maybe we have a mahalach, and then you open the Likutei Halachos and you start realizing that Reb Nosson is not just giving you a drush. Reb Nosson is mamish mevaya the Torah, and all the questions that you had, Reb Nosson saw it. Mamish. And so I was learning today, Likutei Halachos, a whole beautiful Likutei Halacha, where Reb Nosson goes in to the whole thing of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, that's the whole avodah of the bittul and the reshima, and then he goes into Sukkot and the Shivas Aroim and to the Arba Minim. And Reb Nosson says, I just want to read it, because this is something that opened up to me something amazing, I think. And again, it's not pshat, and I'm just saying, it pshat for me, and it gave me an avodah. And today, the undertook from Yod, the Rebbe says in Spur Meises, right? Today, the undertook from the Torah, all of a sudden, it opened up a Ma'ir Gezach. Reb Nosson says like this, I want to read it, talking about the Arba Minim. He goes through mamish beautifully, the whole Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Sukkot, how it's all, and the Ananei HaKoved, and then he goes, and he says, that the Arba Minim, Ubezeh Shonu Loichen Elo Arba Minim, Mitzimcha Asodo. That's why we're taking the 4 Minim, from the Tzimcha Asodo. Bezeno Marim Godel Koichenu, Masha Pa'alnu Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, Zechinu, Ayidei B'chinas HaBittul L'Sagna Es HaTfilah, Ad Shonu Yichonu L'Kabetz, U'Lelaket B'Yodenu, Tzimochim Nifloim Asodo Elyon. So Reb Nosson is saying beferish, and Reb Nosson brings it in Kitzur Likutei Moharan also, that this likut of the tzmochim, of the flowers, that the diburei atfilah that we're doing when we say diburei atfilah, that we're malakit, we're taking from the Sodas Elyonis. And then he says, Ki elu arba minim hem klulim kol haneshama shegdelim hasoda. The arba minim represent all the different types of neshama, because the esrog is tam v'reach, the lulav is tam b'li reach, the hadas is reach b'li tam, and the arava is ein tam v'ein reach. It's representing every type of yid, every type of neshama, and we're bringing them together, and we're making the nanum. He even says the nanum is bittul, and I thought about it. I was machavan on Yontiv that the nanum is bittul v'reshima, bittul and reshima. The whole thing, everything is about the bittul and the reshima. So Ibn Nosson says beferish that we're taking from the Sodas Elyonis, and we go into this Soda, into our Soda over here, And that soda, we're taking all these things, the representation of the Arba Minim, and that's what we're doing with our Dibur. So the thought hit me that maybe it's possible that Rav Nosson is telling us that, which the Rebbe is telling us, that where are we taking these Diburim from? We're taking it from the Sodas Al Yonis. Where's the Sodas Al Yonis? The Sod Al Yonis is the place of Echad. That's for sure, right? The Rebbe is telling us in the Sif Aleph, that's the place of Echad. So we're taking the Dibur from Echad, and it comes down to the Nefesh, and Kashi Yoitza HaDibur, when it goes out, there's a separation. And Rav Nosson talks about it here, that the whole Bria is this separation. And this separation, and Daika through the separation from the period, now you go and you make Echad, that's the Avodah. Because Be'etzem, why would the Eibishter create the world from Echad to Echad, and there's going to be a 6,000 year of period of Echad? If the end tachlis is to get to Echad, why do you need to go through the 6,000? Now, I'm not going to say why the Rebbe Shalom made the world, but I'm saying possibly that part of it is that Daik, and this is Rabbi Nosson says it over here in the Likutei Moharan, that Daik from the fact that there's a period, that's where my avodah is to make echad from all the period. So, and we said that we're all the Baal HaSoda. Of course, there's the Baal HaSoda, but we all have the Baal HaSoda. We all have our own Soda. So our own Soda is what? Our Diburei Atfilah. So our Diburei Atfilah that come from the Sodas Al Yonis, they're coming to the Nefesh, and then they Yoitze Nefesh, and then the Nefesh is telling me, the Dibur is telling me, Al Yispar me, man, don't go away from me. So then what do I have to do? I have to go back to Bittul and back to Rishima and make it in turn, convert Yisurim into Tzimoin. So where did the Yisurim come from? So I thought that maybe all the Yisurim is all the Diburim that we didn't make Echad from. The Yisurim is actually the Diburim. These Diburim that we didn't make Echad from, these Diburim that are begging. So why? Because what did we say? The Yisurim, when you go to Bittul, when you come back to the Yeshima, you're converting the Yisurim into thirst. What's the thirst? I want to go back to Bittul. I want to go back to Echad. I want to go back to the place of Kulei Toiv. So I'm taking the Yisurim and I'm going back to the Tzimon. So if it were, and that brings this Chachas HaTorah. That's the Tzimon. And that brings this Chachas HaTorah. So now, Oibazoyer has to work reverse also. That means when I don't do the Avodah, then this Chachas HaTorah go to Tzimoin, and when I don't use that Tzimoin back that way, they become bigger Yisurim. Right? So that means that my Yisurim are coming from what? From my Diburei Atfilah. Because in the place of Echad, it's Asher Ayin Rasa. The place of Hoiva in the present, in this world, in the Sodas HaTachtonis, not in the Sodas Al-Yonis, in the Sodas HaTachtonis, which is our Sodas, in that place it's period. So if I don't make Echad from my Tefillah, if I don't take my Diburei Atfilah and I don't make Echad from it, those Diburei Atfilah, they become the Yisurim. That's what is the Yisurim. Those are the Nigei HaNefesh. That the Nefesh is, why is it called Nigei HaNefesh? Because the Dibur that comes out of the Nefesh is screaming, don't leave me, and yet you're leaving me. You let go of me. So it's the Tzimoin that it was, what the yearning that the Dibur had to the Nefesh, and you forgot about him, you let him go, that turns into Yisurim. Says the Rebbe, Mordi Gazach. Don't worry, you have an Eitzah. Because if you understand that these Yisurim are only to bring you back to Echad, it didn't go away. They didn't fall away forever. But you now, just start now, go into your Diba Tefillah, and you make Echad from your Baruch. You take your Baruch, you connect it to Rabbi Shalom, you're bringing a flower to Rabbi Shalom. From where? You're taking it from the Sodas Al Yonis, that you chose it, that you picked out, and now you're bringing Baruch to Rabbi Shalom. And now you bring Atta. Doesn't mean that in Atta I have to remember Baruch. Because if I made Echad from Baruch and I make Echad from Atta, I only added to the Echad. I didn't take away from the Echad. I added to the Echad. So every word of my tefillah that and I was thinking that maybe that's the Lashon. The Rebbe keeps saying, Kisha oimid b'soif atfilah, Kisha oimid b'tchilas atfilah. What do you mean oimid? Because you're standing in the same position. All you're doing is you're adding. The Rebbe talks about the dibur atfilah. It's kahoylech basoda. You're traveling. How could you be traveling if you're an oimid? If you're oimid, how could you be traveling? The teretz is, in each dibur I'm an oimid. In the whole tefillah I'm hoylech. But in my dibur atfilah that I'm connecting to you, Rabbi Shem, from the dibur atfilah that I'm making one with you, that is the echad that I'm making from each dibur atfilah. So Memela now we could understand the connection between Yisurim and Diburim, that the Yisurim and Diburim be'etzim are the Diburim that I let go of. So what am I going to do with these Diburim? What am I going to do with these Diburim that I let go of, that they became now Neshamas Arumos, that are Mechutz LaSada? How am I going to bring them back into the Sada? The Rebbe says, don't worry. You go do your avodah of making your Yisurim right now. You're bringing that to Echad. You're turning that into Tzimoin. That's going to give you his Chachas HaTorah. What's this Chachas HaTorah? A new pshat in the Rambam? A new pshat in the Rebbe Sefer? Also. But this Chachas HaTorah is taking these Diburim that were Michutz LaSada and I'm putting them back in the Sada. How? By me making Echad, I'm empowering the Baal HaSada to have state Seifim. When I empower the Baal HaSada to be in Bechina state Seifim, he's going to take all my Diburim and bring it back. And that's what we said. That's Merdig Meduik. We said this yesterday, where the Rebbe says at the end, after he goes through Siv Dal and he talks about all the mechanics of the Torah, the Rebbe says, and the Baal HaSada Yochel Estakel B'chol Echad Ve'echad. The Baal HaSada, where is it? It's Merdig. She'ein of Me'iris B'china state Seifim. As a Yochel Estakel B'chol Echad Ve'echad, he can look into every individual, Imul Korav Ala Tachlis, if he's close to the Tachlis, Ukesheroye Be'echad, Sherochok Ma Tachlis, as a ain't Tfilos Edaim B'Shleimus Karov. So we asked the other day, right? It sounds like the Rebbe is telling us that the guy's almost there, but ain't Tfilos B'Shleimus Karov. It's not perfect. So don't worry, the Baal HaSada is going to make it perfect. I understand. What about the guy who's Rochok Ma Tachlis? What about the person who's totally outside the Sada? The Rebbe in the beginning of the Torah spoke about all different individuals. The Rebbe is telling you, but it sounds like you're almost there. So we said that maybe it's a drush, but maybe it fits so beautiful that the Baal HaSada, when we do Ritzoyna Shomokim and we make Echad from our Dibur Atfilah and we connect our Baruch as a flower that we're giving to Yerubah Shalom. Ata, we're adding another flower. The picture is changing. We're adding to the beauty that's the Goydel Yekar Yefei HaSada. Ashrei Ayin Rosa, Iyaf Shalasaper, Ashrei Ayin Rosa. What does it mean? It means that we're adding to the Echad of the whole world. So Oy Bazoi, now the Baal HaSada Yochel Estakel B'chol Echad Ve'echad. The Baal HaSada looks into every one of our Echads. Imul Korav La Tachlis, Oy Rochok Ma Tachlis. Not that he's looking into every individual. That's the pashtus. But he's looking into all our echads. From the Baal HaSada is taking the echad because that's the oisen ritzonos shamakim, and if that's the oisen ritzonos shamakim, that's empowering him to be able to bring us to the tachlis. Even the dibur atfilah that are lost, that became the shamas arumos, even all these dibur atfilah are going to come to echad into the sada. So we said that that's pshat. That the Rebbe says, also that Kodesh Baruch Hu Lasa Mochel La Tzadikim in the Seif Torah, that the Eibishter is going to make a circle for the Tzadikim. So I thought, what's the circle? What's the circle? First of all, Mochel La Tzadikim Lasa Lavoi, V'chol Echad Marabed Zboi, and what did they say? Ze Hashem Kivinu Loi. The Rebbe said that the whole tachlis of Echad was from the pasuk by Yom Ahu Yi Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. That the Eibish's name is going to be one, and Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. Frag the Gemara, Oto Idn Lav Echad. Now he's not Echad, but now we make a bracha Atov HaMeitiv and a bracha Dainam. We're going to make Kula Atov HaMeitiv. So I thought of a very nice zach. What's Shem Havaya? The Pashta Kavan and the Shem Havaya is Hoya Hoyvaviyah, right? Shem Havaya is Hoya Hoyvaviyah. The Rebbe is telling you, where do you take the Dibur Atfilah from? From the Sodas El Yonis. When you're malakit, you have to be malakit from something that was existing already. So you're taking something from the past, and you're connecting it to the future. You're connecting it to La'asad Lavai. You have to take, in order to make that echad, you're taking the same dibur, the same flour that you took from, you malak it from the southern. So you're taking that and you're making hoya hoya. So he says, each person on his level, that he's taking his echad and he says baruch, and he's connecting it, and he understands that this is a flower that he's giving the Eibishter to the Eibishter with every dibur that he's saying, because every dibur is an oilam maleh. The Rebbe says, what does it mean, an oilam maleh? It's either oilam or it's not. Is it an oilam maleh? What makes it an oilam maleh? Oilam maleh, the Rebbe says that the place of the tachlis is kuloi toiv. There's no separation. It's kuloi toiv. It's fulfilled with toiv. That's oilam maleh. How do I make an oilam maleh? When I take, I'm malakit, my diburim, from the Sodas El Yonis, and I'm connecting it to the Tachlis. So even my Dibur Atfilah that became my Yisurim, I understand that by connecting it to the Tachlis, I'm making one from it. That's by Yoim Ahu Yashem Echad, Ushmai Echad, because I'm taking but I'm doing it on my small level. But when we come, L'Asad Lavoi, Asad HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'Asad Mochoy L'Tzadikim. He's going to take a circle. What's the circle? The bittul to the Rishima. The Rishima to the bittul. The bittul to the Rishima. Asa Mochoy L'Tzadikim. V'chol echad marabetz boy, and everybody's going to show with their finger, Zeh Hashem, Zeh Havaya. That is the Hoya Hoiva V'yiyah Kivinu Loi, that we were waiting for. We were anticipating the real echad. The real echad that we anticipate, Zeh Hashem Kivinu Loi. That's the echad that we did it on our level with a small version. But the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Tzaddikim, the Baal Soda, he's going to take all my echods and bring us into the Soda and continue to nurture us, to be mashkas. How much time do we have? We have a few more months. And he's going to continue to give us, nurture us, and that's Chol Echad, Mara Be'etzboy. Everybody's going to say, Zeh Hashem Kivinu Loi. That's the Havaya of Bayoim Ahu Yeh Hashem Echad, Ushmai Echad, that we're going to take the Ava, the Hoya, the Hoiva, and the Yiyah, and we're going to make it, and that's the Eitzah. So, Maisa Kum Toiz Amar Yidizah. What do we come... What?
Wieso Scheich zu vergessen von einem Wort? Warum darf der als...
Was ist Scheich?
Wieso Scheich zu... Warum darf der als beten?
Ob das schon gemacht, if you put them into the vase, you take the flowers, you take one flower, put it into the vase, you're making a bouquet. Put another flower. No, you're not forgetting him, you're only making him more beautiful. You never forget him, because when you add the second flower, you're making the first flower more beautiful. You add the third flower, you're making all two flowers. Every echad is making this beautiful present to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that making it more, and that's Goydel Yefei. What?
Was meant Yafa? Yeah, was meant Yafa, I guess.
It's you're not. Oh, what's the guy that forgetting? That he didn't make echad. He didn't make echad. He let the Dibur go. He didn't try. He didn't attempt. He didn't go with his passion to Kavanah Baruch Ato Hashem. He didn't go. I told you the word that someone told me, someone from here, B'simcha Rabba V'amru Chulam. So I said that he said that Baruch is the Rosh Tevis. David Friedman said, B'simcha Rabba V'amru Chulam. So I thought like this, that the Rebbe talks about that the keli that you have to be makabel, the keli is the simcha, right? The Rebbe says that when you go to Bittul, Nasav is Shosh Omru Yisrael, by the way, when the Klal Yisrael said Nasav and Nishma, that they got the Tuksarim, Ukeshachotum, and when they sinned, they took away the Tuksarim. So you see that simcha is the keli. So b'simcha Rabbah v'amru chulam, and all my diburim, Baruch is the Rosh Hashanah, b'simcha Rabbah v'amru chulam, all my diburim will become one. It was a nice vertal, but the vert is, what is l'maisa? What are we walking away? We're walking away with a few major nakudas here. Nakuda number one is that I have to do my little etzbah. I have to this etzbah that we said about the Evan, that you have to do your etzbah. And what's your etzbah? Your etzbah is to recognize that every dibur that I'm saying, I'm connecting, I'm making my echad. That's number one. And I could do it with my pashata Baruch Ata Hashem, with no big Torahs. I can make my etzbah. That's number one. Number two is that when I'm feeling pain, to remember that this pain is only for me to come closer, not to mean to run away. And stimas enayim mechazudai alma, and to go into the place of bittul, and we all do it anyway. It doesn't sound like it's a big thing, but it's not a big thing. It's bittul and rishima, and the Rebbe is telling us the eights of how to do it. And the most important part of the Torah is to have the emunah, that when we do our etzba elikim, the Baal HaSoda, we're empowering the Baal HaSoda to be b'chinas state zoifim, and we're empowering the Baal HaSoda, and really we all have to come on to the Baal HaSoda, and that without the Baal HaSoda we're incapable of coming to make echad from all the diburei tefillah, and to bring all the neshamas arumas that are mechutz l'Soda, to bring them into the Soda. So we ask Hashem that as Breslov Chassidim, we will go away from the Torah with a new emunah in the Baal HaSoda, and to understand that this Baal HaSoda that we are so fortunate and we're so lucky to be part of, and that the Eibishter was mezaka us, why us, to understand that we all are, we're not just for our selfish tikkun of ourself, which is one way, but we also are Baal HaSodas, and we also have an obligation to go and bring mefarsim and bring the Rebbe's Torah, and that all the neshamas that are chutz l'Soda, all the neshamas that don't yet know from the Baal HaSoda, to be megalit to them the Baal HaSoda, to reveal to them by being a good example and showing what we are as Breslov Chassidim, who we are, and that in the Schenkeit and in the Groiskeit that men sehen wir Mashiach kommen. And that is what I have to say from my Torah Samachay. Anybody else want to share that? Not Reb Shia, I'm sorry. That's it. That was my thing.
No, du noch viel zu sagen gering.
Warte.
Du sagst, ich kann das nicht ist der Maße.
In Dan Suda redt man noch Jüdisch.
Lechoire, wir so drei willen zu auslegen in der ganzen Teile. Ein Mensch hat das Sachma so in mir leben. Sag wo seht der Mensch sei klut. Sag wo seht da die Lust das klut. Sag wo du sag lechtige Teken, es nur Teken ist nur namens von hier. Der Rebbe gegeben ein Wort von dem, diese tun ich Gott. Aber ein Wort ist ich mit Wattel sein von einem. Lemushla le digme, also wir Nachman tun beits die ganze Drusche was gibt sei, legabe kimmt zart, legabe die ganze Sache von der Kollel, der ganze Sache von der Lene Torah von 2003 zusammen so. Die Idee ist, als man auf ein Page, der Page ist mit sich mit Wattel zum Zart. Bei Meile darf man kimmt zart, die ganze Sache was man geschmiss du, ist eine ganze Zeit eine Sache. Mit Butel zart. Wenn es Butel, bei Meile fällt schon alles an den Platz. Dasselbe sagt der Rebbe Rosenberg, ich gab Avodas Hashem, ich gab alle Matzum von meinem Leben. Zadig, mit Wattel von Eibischen. Der Regen ist mit Wattel von Eibischen ist alles Messider. Bei Meile, kommt aus Kollel Moharan, der Heilig von Echot. Ja, das meint Echot. Echot meint nicht sehr verschiedene Matzum. In diese klappt, in diese setzen. Ich sehe alles auf ein Picture, also wo sind die Eibischen für mich? Die Eibischen wirklich so von Wattel von Eibischen. In deze Woche der Rebbe ran in de Kapara, du redt von eine Sache. Kinder schwa kein Geld, kinder schwa kein Covid, kinder eine Sache. Ich will sich mit Wattel sein von Eibischen, in der Rebbe was und so mit Wattel. In deze meint, wir sind in Suda. In euch, eine fällt heraus von der Suda, das meint, verloren der Point für sich mit Wattel sein. In der Rebbe ein ganzer Kick heraus, sich mit Wattel sein, von meiner Kinder, warum da noch, zum Schiff, warum da noch. Ein Mensch da, er hat eine Gitte Minute. Warum sind die Buren ist ihm gelungen? Will nicht gehen zu der Reich. Warum soll gehen zu der Reich? Du kommt eine Gitte Sachen, und will nicht gehen warten. So die Rebbe sagen dich nicht. Ich hab's dir, die ganze Twille meint sich mit Wattel sein von einem. Wo ist man das da? Ich bin gesagt, man nicht in der Mut zu da. Was heißt man doch da jetzt? Stand wie ein Goylem? Ich komme an der Schiele, kann ich nicht ausagen. Aber wo ist einfach da? The point is, weil ich muss sich mal Wattel von einem. So diese Schach von jedem meinen. Der Rebbe gegeben ein Nummer für alle meine Probleme, wieso ich kennen für jede Sache. Als was? Also ich habe mal kommen, ich will mal Wattel sein. Kann ich mal, dieselbe Sache, aber auch du Mensch, der Bittel ist, ich will machen eine scheine Sache. Ich will machen eine scheine Blin. Okay, ich bringe noch eine scheine Blin von einem. Das ist ein Bittel. Es tut noch eine Kide. Die Sprache, die der Rebbe redet, wieso kann ich uplosen? Dieselbe Sprache weiß jeder ein, was Mama zum Glück, wenn geboren geworden, hat eine Schumme gesucht, fahren mit der Berufschicht auf der Welt. Wieso kann ich also ich sitze mit der von meinem ich hacke leben, du, es ist mal so Geschmack, wo muss ich auch auf der Welt? mit Zar, mit Isirus, mit Petros, Zures, so sucht man eine ganz normale Torah gestimmt. Ja, okay, jetzt, wo ist aber stehen? Gibt jetzt der Balasude, und sucht das wissen, man mit Torah gestimmt von euch, du bist Kili rausgefahren von der Balasude, also Meister, lehn der Chos, wo der Tachlis ist. Der Tachlis ist bitte. Und der Tachlis ist, man wartet auf einen Neibischen, bis du mit deinen Problemen, pinkt also bei euch mit der Kiste akkurat. Intrak ist gut, du meint, man wartet, wenn das passt, das ist weiß, was meint, Kiste akkurat, aber das meint, ich bin mutig auf einen Neibischen. Oi bin man, oi lem Hase. Kenn ich mich, man wartet auf einen Neibischen, also der Mensch, ich gebe alles hin von die Echot, Kille Echot, ist man, jetzt. Le Maas ist am Madreige. Ein Stückchen Madreige, das geht an, was es Luba. Das geht an, aber können doch wissen, wo es geht an, jene Madreige, was man geht tun kann. Jetzt kann ich mal bei Zwooi, jeder wird wissen, der Rebbe sucht, man solche zu bittel, wir sollen man solche zu sehen bittel, wenn man legt dran den Finger in euch. Demut meint man Fokus nur auf der Wort ist bittel. Auf dem Fokus, auf diesem Regime, es geht bleiben die ganze Zeit. Bei Meile, beim Schiech kommt jeder mal bei Zwooi. The point, weißt du, was mit Finger, the point gewesen bittel. Jeder hat verstanden, sehr Hashem kivini loi. Man die ganze Sache gewinnt, ich verhoffe von Neibisch, ich warte auf einen Neibisch. Ich gehe mal ganz am Morgen. Der Neueste, ich gehe an den Zadik's Feld,